All right. Stay up with us for another 20 to 30 minutes for Cubfidential, the best Cubs coverage this side of Wrigley. I am your producer, Denzel Snipes, and we've got a great show for you. We got the past week in Cubs coverage, and this is officially the second half of the season. But gonna go ahead and bring him in. He's back, y'all. He's finally back after 2 weeks. That is the Chicago Crusader himself, by way of New York City, your host, JB Ellis.
What's going on, guys? After a little hiatus, we're back. We're going to make the show a little quick because we're headed to Cooperstown. Pat Hughes going to be honored this weekend. Big thing for the Cubs and their fans. And, we got a lot of stuff going on today. Let's bring in Mr. Ubbs himself, the pundit's pundit, Jacob Christner.
What's going on? What's
long
going on,
time
buddy?
no see. Long time no see. It's been like
Well,
3 seconds.
definitely. And the Cubs up 2-1, and my guy Hendricks had a good game tonight, which was nice. I just
Yes.
hope they don't blow it.
Just got out of trouble, first and second, got a ground in at third baseman, made a nice little tag out of the inning. So let's start with the Red Sox series. The Sox got 2 out of 3. Stroman gets his 10th win in Game 2. What do you take out of that series?
Oh, I remember one of the things about it was I just had this feeling. I have a buddy of mine who he's into gambling, and it was such a bad first game, and I was like, I got a good one on this one because it's Stroman, and then they had a bad game, the first one, so I had the feeling, and he got his money. He got his money for that, so it's like I had an idea the Cubs would win that second game, but the biggest thing about it is the fact that the Cubs can never get themselves. Like I said, we had 17. Cubs had 17 runs last night. And they probably won't get that for the next 10 games. You just can't tell, especially with Ross. So that's the whole thing. It's like one good thing is like Stroman and Hendricks are starting to find their stride. But can you get the bullpen in handy? And they can't right now.
Yeah, I think Stroman, when he got the blister, it took a little bit to get back. I mean, pitchers. Their fingers are so important, and I think he's going to be fine. But I have questions on if they keep him with the way the season's going. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the thing is, we might see a couple more blisters. Might see a couple more because especially with the torque he puts on that ball. But this depends. It depends how long he goes because the second one, if it's the end of the year, they might just shut it down.
Well, I mean, he's only under contract till the end of the year. Do you trade him?
I know that's the issue with that. It's like the Cubs don't ever seem to be able to get something like this, and they're not wanting to get play the extension with him, which is a terrible mistake. It's by itself, you've got something great going on with Stroman, Hendricks, and Steele. And if you could get now, mind you, I would love to see Tanya get hot. I really would. I'd love to see that to be a 4. But if he doesn't get hot, I mean, there's a 4 and 5 they need to get also to give themselves a good pitching staff for the next year. But will they keep Stroman is the question.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question. Let's look at last night's game. Cubs won 17-3. Suzuki had 4 hits, 4 for 6, a home run, 2 runs, 3 RBIs. They went crazy. What was your thoughts on last night's game? Why tonight only 2 runs after 17 last night?
What was so funny about that is they said after it was 3-3, they said, and a new ball game, and then they scored 14 more. But it's a David Ross staple, unfortunately. It's in fact, remember he scored 20 runs last year for a thing. Then it didn't score. They didn't score 20 in a week after that, and then later in the year they had 20. They gave up 20. That's the thing. It's like it's never the same. Right now they're up 2-1 tonight. We don't know if they'll get 17 in the next week. That's the biggest thing with this team is they settle. It's why even if you would sneak in to a second playoff spot, you're facing teams like the Braves who are always around, who are just monsters. Dodgers always monsters. This isn't the Dodger team that got lulled last year with their thing. This team, this Dodger team can make a run. So it's like the Cubs. That's the thing. The worst This is the worst year to ever try to pull a Cardinals of 2006. Worst year to do this because you got such monsters and experienced playoff teams. So that's the big thing about that right now. They're just not consistent.
Interesting. So, why do the Cubs have issues with bad teams like the Nationals?
That's a good question with it. I think they play down to the competition. But at the same time, when you get a 17 runs, it shows you have a good roster. They do, other than Mastroboni, and maybe a couple others, they've got a good roster. I'll give you credit. I was wrong on Bellinger. I thought LA just, not that he wasn't, that we didn't forget his MVP year, but it just sunk his confidence. I thought it was sunk for good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he figured the thing out. My whole worry is when Yankees fans say, "Oh, we want him now," and it's like he had his confidence sunk in a really big market, and now you're taking him to a beast market. Would he be able to handle that?
Chicago, the Cubs are a huge market team too. Don't discount what the
No.
Cubs are.
You're true, but it's LA and New York. It's a comparison.
I definitely understand what you're saying. 1A, 1B, and the second city, as they call it, which not because of that, would be secondly number 2 on the list after 1A and 1B.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go into some stats. So Bleacher Report shows the Cubs are the worst defense in baseball. Is Jamison Talion vindicated? Great question. And is Stroman and Steele won in spite of the defensive woes?
Oh, absolutely. Both sides. And it's like, you got to remember, I remember when when the Hot Bodkins was going after it, when Hot Bodkins was going after Talion and predicting that loss with the Yankees, I'm like, you got to remember, he was 14-5 with the Yankees the last year and had some really good games in Yankee Stadium last year. Really good games in Yankee Stadium. He knows how to pitch there. I caught that one right, but he can pitch there. Of course, he's vindicated. It is not a good. I mean, you know how many. I mean, one of the things about this is we talked about this tonight that Hendricks has a chance to win tonight. He's had about 4 games. He should have 7 wins by now. He's had 4 games his team is blown.
He's done really well, better than I expected coming back. He had a couple of dud outings, but a couple that were really good. But yeah, the defense just untimely. It's been missing. Bullpen, I still think the bullpen's being misused, which is costing games. It's like as if they don't have the fire to win.
The thing about the manager is more than just trying to get that cards over to the umpire. It's more than just teach. Because if you were going to just be the teacher, you go to camps. These are pros. They don't need to be taught. But you got to get it positioned properly. You got to remember, why is Morel 7th ever? When he gets out there, why is he 7th? It's like they finally made a thing, and instead of putting Mastroboni 6th, he finally put him 9th. Finally. But there's little things that also happen. It's psychologically. The best managers win year after year because there's a psychological thing that they bring around. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And this is things that he could learn in the minors, what I keep bringing up. And you can learn off of your losing there and build a thing, not do this to this team. Now it could, when he's out, that could blow his chances to get a game for a while.
Completely agree. Let's go outside of Wrigley. Let's talk about probably the best player in baseball, the Japanese superstar. We're not talking about Seiya Suzuki. We're talking we're talking about Mr. Ohtani. He's 1 home run behind the pace of Aaron Judge right now. Does he have the ability to catch him? Will he catch him? What's your thoughts?
See, the issue is if he does catch him, it means he is super duper superstar. And the reason I bring that is because you got to remember, every 5 days he pitches. So it's like once you get this, then he goes to the outfield. You're missing extra at bats. You're kind of in your way because with these new rules, he cannot bat and pitch, right?
It's a great question. I
don't think he can bat and pitch in the way because the DH is universal.
He hits when he pitches. You could still use the pitcher.
Oh, okay. I think because I was thinking because of the DH, but we got to remember by itself. Okay, now that I know this, the big he's going to have his at bats, but that's going to depend. Will he wear out in September? It's a long season. Can he get 50 homers? Absolutely. 55 homers? Absolutely. Catching that amount when you're also a pitcher, I mean, it's a stamina issue, so we don't know. If he does, he's amazing. And the whole thing is, there's never been a doubt he's amazing. Never been a doubt. There's people that think that I don't think he's great. He is awesome. I'm just trying to tell them not to make one season to Babe Ruth, who made it 14 straight.
So here's a question for you. We had this debate last week. Judge here said Ohtani's overrated. He hits a lot of solo shots when the game doesn't matter. And myself, Jake Malik, Dave, all basically put John in his place, saying that he's by far the best player in baseball at the moment. What's your thoughts?
Well, he just hit a 2-run homer to tie the game the other night. I mean, that kind of kills that idea. But you got to remember, we're also talking about Baltimore. A Baltimore fan who doesn't want to admit the Yankees there. It's like, excuse me, because he's not the Yankees. I'm sorry, the Angels. But it's like it's a Baltimore fan trying to get his team. But would he say something like that if he was on Baltimore? If Ohtani was on Baltimore, you got to remember that this is a fan. This is a super fan still.
Wow, calling John Shear a super fan. I love it.
Well, he is a super fan. I mean, the Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl every year, don't you know?
Wow, John Shear, if you're out there, you were called out. Let's move on. So, the Hot Cup Time Machine. Lou Piniella wins the 2007 NL Central title, the first manager since Frank Chance to lead the Cubs to successive postseason appearances. Tell us why Sweet Lou is so special to Cub fans and how he's able to do this.
Well, let me tell you this about Lou Piniella. I'm saying this in one of my articles with about Dusty Baker. I said one of the things that we had since I was 84 and go back before I was even a fan is that you just would get your baseball guys. You know what I mean? Your baseball guys. You get your Joe Altobellis and you get your Jim Lefevers and you get all those over the years. Then you get Bruce Kim. You get that. And then Dusty comes. Dusty has his 4 years. But you want to know what they get after this is they get Lou Piniella. And then, then you get Dale Swain. That was the outlier. But then you get Joe Madden. And
right.
It's like I'm talking about 3 of the 4 are stars. Dusty, Piniella, Madden. Those are stars. Cubs did not get stars either by the hitters or by managers or by anybody. That's why I said give Dusty his ring, give him his statue, because the Cubs did not get these names before Dusty showed up.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a great point. I think Lou is a great manager. He won pretty much everywhere. He was fiery. I love Lou Piniella.
Oh no, Lou! I wish Lou had it, but Lou was always missing a bullpen.
Yes,
he really was, especially for you got to remember, especially for playoff times. Like he just really was. I mean, I'm not talking about a closer. I'm talking about just a full bullpen. He was always just missing something because they won divisions.
Yeah, very
true. They went to playoffs. It was like, they won games. They had good rosters, but it's like he's always missing a little bit, just enough. But this was a tremendous manager.
Yeah, it's one of the best I think in my lifetime. I'm willing to say that he was definitely up there.
Oh yeah, and like I said, it's like one of the. By the thing is, I think he left because I think they knew they were rebuilding, and he was getting older. Man, you just go, and then you put Dale Swain in there to take the beating.
No, I definitely agree. So in this abbreviated edition of Cubfidential, since we're headed to Cooperstown to be there for Pat Hughes's induction, the media wing, Very, very proud to say that Pat Hughes is going to be inducted. Cub or dud? Can the Cubs get to 500 at the end of the year right now?
In this division, it can win it. I mean, that's the funniest part. The problem, if we brought this up about with Nick. We brought this up when he came in. It's like, should they do it? Or should they go after being buyers at the deadline? Yeah, they can go 81-81 if they go buy at the deadline. But you got to remember, you might still sell. And of course, if it's not, see, what the Cubs usually do is what I want Colorado to do all year, some year. Just get a bunch of players and just go the whole year and win 20 games. It's like to build a team for later and stuff like that. But personally, to me, I'm tired of the Cubs doing that. The Cubs got their World Series, and now they need to. That means completely useless by September, and the Wrigley Field being the loser's side. That's over with. They got their World Series, so it's time the Cubs start thinking of winning regular. I mean, we bring up the Cardinals. Cardinals have just in the middle of all this horrible season, they've won 7 in a row. They're always making runs, even if it's late. The Cubs aren't thinking like that. The Cubs need to think of that constantly.
Interesting. I definitely get you. So before we run and we end this abbreviated Cubfidential as we're headed to Cooperstown, pundit, tell us, what do the Cubs need to do to turn this season around? Because they're not out of it yet. Do we sell or do we buy in this next week and a half? Or do we stay still?
I'm going to stay still. Whatever. It's like I think they go the thing, but I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up. I like where they can go in the minors. I like to get the prospects. I like the idea. I like this roster now, even if there's things you need to add to later. But next year you're going to have not only Ohtani but some names that you can go. And the Cubs since Dusty have been in the moment. They've been in the list to get people. The Cubs have gotten a ton. They need to be in that list and continuously. You know what I'm saying? So just stay put and see what happens. You just can't tell.
Makes sense. So where can people find you, Jacob?
Oh, by the way, it's 3-2 now. The Nationals just hit a homer. It is. I am Jake the Pundit on Twitter, saying absolutely nothing and not trying to step on eggshells. I'm Jake the Pundit 1 on TikTok. Sunday nights Basket Bros. Monday nights, the last 2 weeks of Pundit Views. Then it's going to be a new wrestling show called Off the Top Rope. It's me and Denzel. Wednesday nights is the pundits, the South Florida Tribune with the Sports Exchange, and this. Thursday nights working on getting back with the independent version of Yin and Yang. And then as I go there, and I also have a proof of concept and proof that I act. And it just got finished. I'll just show all of you guys. I'm on the silver screen a little bit.
Oh, I mean, I'm loving what you're doing. You're a busy guy. We appreciate you being on the show every week. Until next week, make sure you're watching Sideline Sports. Hundreds of shows. We got our online channel, got YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I think we got a Snapchat too. We got everything. If you're not following us, you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
If you want to get all your sports from people that know sports and care about their sports, we got Denzel Snipes who's about to start a wrestling show with this guy, Jacob Christner. It's going to be a phenomenal show. If you're into wrestling, you better watch it. But until next time, next week, after we see Pat Hughes inducted, have a great night. We're out of here. Later.
Night.